Hi everyone, my name is Sydney. I am technically a pre-med student, a pre-medical student, and I graduated from Albion College. I will be starting medical school this summer, yes. And I wore this sweatshirt so you guys can see. I will be going to University of Illinois at Chicago, College of Medicine, and I am very excited. Most of you probably following this channel will be pre-medical students and are pre-medical students and know that it's a long process. So I am in the middle of my process, and I often find myself coming on YouTube for different advice, pre-medical advice, medical advice from medical students and physicians. I'm trying to figure out, navigate my way through this because it's not easy in terms of pre-med, in terms of what classes, in terms of everything. It's really not easy. So that leads me to experiences. You really need to analyze the different experiences that you can have to make you look different, and you can have so many. I hate students that be like, I need a little more research, I need a little more volunteerism. Like, no, these are the students that are not looking so standout-ish on applications because it's just a checklist. I've heard from a lot of boards, I heard from advisors, pre-medical advisors, and at conferences that the students that are not standing out are students that look at things like a checklist. Literally, I need some volunteerism, I need some leadership, I need some research, and I need some clinicals. And those are the 4 pillars: volunteerism, research, leadership, and clinicals. And those 4 things, that's kind of how I group things when I was going through the process of applying. But I basically was told that you need 3 out of those 4 things to be very strong. So I wasn't that big in research. Let me tell you guys that first. I do not have that much research at all, and I am accepted to an MD program. But what I do have is a lot of volunteerism. I put in a lot of hours volunteering. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I was in a lot of organizations in college, and I was on the cheer team. I was like in sports, a lot of things. So those shows leaderships, and not just being on the team, but showing initiative. So I just wasn't on the cheer team, I was the captain of the cheer team, or things like that. So those are really taking initiative and showing that you're just not showing up, but you're actually actively taking a role in an organization. And those type of leaderships, that's another pillar. And then the last pillar is clinicals, and I had a lot of clinicals as well. So I worked at a student-run free clinic. That's something that's dear to my heart. I still do that until I start med school. So that's big on clinicals. I learned so much working in a free clinic, and I didn't just show up. Like I said, I stepped up, and now I work on ordering new medications in a program called Patient Assistance Program. So you don't want to just show up to any activity out of the 4 pillars I talked about. You don't want to show up to any of them. You want to actually take initiative and take an executive role in an organization. You want to take an additional role rather than regular general volunteer, regular general research student, or whatever the case may be. You need to show leadership in any experience that you do. Another thing is time. So if you're only doing something for a month, it really doesn't show too big of a commitment. But maybe if you do something every summer for a month for your 4 years of undergrad, then obviously you're committed to that. So you want to see how much time that you're putting into these. I would say at least 40 hours you should have for an experience that you've done. So the second thing I want to talk about is gap years. I hear all the time, should I take a gap year? I'm a senior in college and I want to go straight to medical school, or I'm a junior in college and I want to go straight to medical school. So when should I apply? When should I take my MCAT? Should I take a gap year? Is it right for me? So there's a lot of things to think about when thinking about a gap year. Me personally, I have took 2 whole gap years since I've graduated from college, and I think it was a blessing and the best thing. So from 2 years ago, I look at myself as a new graduate, and I'm like, I was so young, and I learned so much and matured so much as a young woman that I honestly don't think I was ready to start med school when I first graduated. And I think this time that I've had to gain experience and to increase my MCAT score. If your MCAT score is not the best, if it's not at least in the 500s, don't apply. I don't recommend you apply to any MD schools. I think you should get your MCAT up to in the 500s before you consider applying. So if you are so set on, like I was so set on going straight to medical school from undergrad. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to med school. And I took my MCAT and I did poorly. I did not get in the 500s. So at that point, I had to reevaluate myself and say, maybe a gap year is better for me. And at the time, I didn't know it. I was upset that I didn't do as well, but I think it was a blessing in disguise. I really rededicated my mind, my body, my soul, everything to the field of medicine and to getting into medical school. So then I started getting into more volunteerism. I've always been the volunteer type, but like I said before, I was working at a free clinic and I'm still doing that. I started scribing in different offices. I found my love for neurology. I love neurology now. I learned a lot in a cardiology office, so I learned a lot about the heart, and you know the heart can be tricky. So I think I'm maybe ahead of my incoming first year medical school class because of the time that I took. And you don't have to do the experiences that I did. I know people who do post-bac programs because their GPA. So if your GPA is not as high, then you know you need to take some classes over, or if you don't have the prerequisite courses that are needed for medical school, you may have to do a post-bac program to up your GPA or to take the courses necessary. So those things are things to look at. So the last question or thing that I want to address, which I get these questions all the time, is majors. So I hear I'm a bio major, but it's really hard and I want to go to med school, but I'm thinking about changing and I don't know what to do. In that instance, you do not have to be a biology major to go to med school. You don't have to be a science major. You could be an art major. You could be a theater major. You could be philosophy. You could be anything and still go to medical school. The big thing with that is the prerequisites. So there's certain prerequisite courses that are necessary for you to go to med school, and you need to do well in the courses to go to medical school. But you could be any major. So for example, I was personally a psychology major in undergrad. That's called the soft science, people say. It's not really one of the hard science courses, and I still got accepted into med school. However, I took the necessary general biology courses, so a year of general biology. You need biochemistry, a semester of that. You need your organic chemistry courses, and you have to take a year of that, so those are 2 semesters or however your school breaks them up. And you need a year of physics. And with some of those you need labs as well, and that is important. So if you take those courses, and they're online, I can actually tag a link where you could see the exact courses that you need to go to medical school and what you need. And what's also important is the specific school. So if I want to go to Harvard, I may need a 4.0 in all of my prerequisite courses. However, if I just want to get into medical school, then I may not have to have you don't have to have a 4.0 in every prerequisite class to go to medical school. That's not a thing. I didn't have all 4.0s and I got accepted. And I see so many students that don't. They really like to see progress. So maybe in your general biology class your freshman year, you may have gotten a 3.0, but then when you take in biochemistry your sophomore junior year, you may have a 3.5 in that class, or a A minus, or however your school ranks. And that shows progression. Like you started off, it was a B and your bio classes, and then you're progressing and you're getting better and better in your courses, and you're learning how to handle these workloads. So that is something that they really like to see, progress. You want to make sure you're going up and you're not doing great when you first start, and then your classes towards the end of your schooling, your undergrad schooling, is like, you don't want that. Yes, that's basically what I wanted to talk about prereqs. These are a lot of questions I've been getting about majors and prerequisite courses. I get those a lot. I also get gap years, whether gap year is right for you. And then also I get questions about experiences. So I talked about the 4 pillars of experiences. Okay, well, I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube. I am a new YouTuber. I plan to make some videos about moving there, the transition, how it is, and kind of like the city life and the school itself, any experiences that I have had, or my white coat ceremony, all of that. So please stay tuned for that, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.